I will explain a few facts that the country is highlighted. It's in the North American continent, and it's very big. It's the second largest country in the area, as I said. If you take the globe, if you take the Earth, if in the northern hemisphere, if you cut it into four parts, one part, the Canada is expanding from one side to other side. So it's like 1/8 of the surface. Okay, so secondly, it's the nearby or the only nation that Canada borders with North America. Likewise, in Canada, there are 10 provinces and 3 union territories. So in the 10 provinces, if I have to name, and how many we can count. Okay, first count with me. First one, British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Newfoundland Labrador,
correct. Newfoundland Labrador,
Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, BC. One is Cuba, and St. is a French. Are very small provinces towards the Atlantic Ocean, and Ottawa is the capital of Canada. And Toronto, as I already said, Toronto is the most populated city in the country, and it is also in the province of Ontario. And that waterfall we have said, Niagara, it is also situated in Ontario. It's actually derived from an indigenous word called Kanata. It means settlement. And the constitution. The Canadian country has a parliamentary democracy and also a constitutional monarchy. It is ruled by one person, but at the same time it's a democratic country. And a few more facts if you come by the way. Second largest country, as already said, and the major mountain ranges are Rocky Mountains, Coast Mountains, and Appalachian Mountains. Why I said about the geography of the place, like the islands in the country, its largest islands like Baffin, Victoria, Lismore, and the country has so many islands, and a lot of lakes, so many mountain ranges, and like larger water bodies than ever in the world. So it makes Canada so much special geographically, and also what we say, the population and every other kind of updates, like what we say, it's a very much developed country. What I have missed to mention here, recently I heard, I've been studying about the four eyes that leads the world power. So that includes Australia, New Zealand, USA, and Canada. So Canada is one of the greatest powered country in the world. So I've been mentioning these facts just because I'm going to introduce you why people are visiting Canada. Okay, so there are so much specialties, as I have been already speaking. This Lake Superior, Ontario, that is the largest freshwater lake in the earth, and it is connected to Lake Erie. And this connection between Lake Superior and Lake Erie is the Niagara River, where the Niagara waterfalls are located in between. It is somehow like a 1.5 hour distance from Toronto, which is the most populated city. There are so many kind of national parks over there, and very iconic wildlife is also. Like Canada is one of home to iconic living beings. Immigration to Canada. So Canada, the immigration has actually having a lot of possibilities. There are so many visa types. Majorly, we can divide them into permanent residency and temporary residency. So already the name states, permanent residency makes or gives you a status that you can live in the country permanently, but it has certain qualifications which either you have to apply from outside the country, or otherwise you can live up there and gain the status. And apart from the permanent residency, other all visa types engage in the category temporary residence visa. And in that itself, the major ones are visitor visa, study visa, work permits, and some other visa type applications. And in that, I think the majorly inquired one, or what people used to apply, is actually the visit visa. For that, there are so many reasons. There are visitor visas, there are tourism, there are some other business meetings and other kind of things. And majorly we can look for visitor visa or tourism visa. People who are having friends over there, cousins, relatives, parents, children or other kind of things, or people who seeks the place to explore the cities, explore the other flavors of the country or the nature. FIFA is conducting in US and Canada. So for that also there might be like enquiries that you are facing with. So these visit visa, how to apply for a visit visa? For any application, including the visit visa, the very first process is to check the eligibility, whether the person is eligible to apply for a visit visa or a visa or an application. Okay. So here, as I'm already explaining with visit visa, the eligibility comes with certain things. First of all, your passport should be valid at least 6 months for the day of travel, and certain other qualities should be there. We cannot say one person is eligible because of some certain reasons. We can say that application is healthy because of some certain reasons of the profile. So what we say, if we consider about one tourist visa, a client is approaching us to apply for a tourist visa, we can first of all check his previous travel history. So Canada, what they see is if the client has been already traveling at least one Tier 1 country. Tier 1 country is like a developed country. If the client has already been traveling at least one Tier 1 country, the person is or healthy for travel, or the person is considered for travel. So if the client that approaches us is not having any travel history at all, we can directly tell them, we can frankly tell them that the application is very weak and it may get rejected at the time. But certain occupations, anyhow, it is the immigration officer's decision to allow the person or not. So at least we can try for the application. And then after checking the eligibility, submit the application. Submitting the application is very cool. Like apart from the application that we are doing, just fill up an online form, check some documentation. Like there are certain generic forms that also we have to fill, and along with the documents we can upload it. We have to pay a little fees. It's 100 Canadian dollars for one application fees per one person. I will come back to that later in an after page. So submitting the application, the next is biometrics. Biometrics, we just need to give our fingerprints and photos just for identification, and vetting. Vetting is the process done by the immigration officer. Our background, our security, and the medical checkups also sometimes are there. For visit visa, medical checkup is not required, but sometimes when it comes to multiple entry or super visas, these all terms I will come back after some time. For these kind of things, medical checkups sometimes are required by the immigration officer. So it is according to the immigration officer's decision. But anyhow, for usually visit visa, you are not having any medical requirements. So the next is passport stamping. So after waiting, the immigration officer approves the application. And I will explain you how the immigration officer does this or how much time it will take. We will talk back later. And visit visa. So majorly through IRCC portal, the application is done. Before that, I have to tell you what is IRCC and what is the purpose of this department. So IRCC is the official department of the country for controlling immigration, refugees and citizenship in Canada. In the country, every kind of a process related to immigration, citizenship and refugees, as you already have been noticing in the news, Canada is very empathetic. Canada receives a lot of refugees from different parts of the world. They have been undertaking a lot of programs for receiving the refugees. So these three things, citizenship, immigration and refugees, is handled by the IRCC, which is the official department of the country. And for applying the application, the first thing that we have to do is to create a portal or an account in GCC or IRCC portal. I'll explain how this works. So GCC is actually a secure portal that is created by the IRCC for applying each and every kind of applications. Okay, so for Canada, 90% of applications are applied through online and is applied through GCC portal. Recently, Canada has introduced, almost like 3 to 4 years ago, Canada has introduced this IRCC portal, which they are promoting to apply study visas and visit visas. So we can either apply by creating a GCK account or apply the application through creating a GCK portal account. Sorry, IRC is
IRC.
important. So these are two major things that we have to be in touch with. The eligibility. For applying a visit visa for each and every temporary resident visas in every part of the world, if you are applying for a temporary resident visa, these three pillars should have been noted. The first one is the ties to, the order is not correct. So first one, I would say purpose of travel. For applying for a visit visa or applying for a temporary resident visa, you should be having a purpose. For visit visa, if the person is visiting the country to meet a person, meet a friend or a relative or any other purposes. Sometimes for our clients, they will be asking, if a mother is going to see her child, the child is pregnant and the mother has to assist her or something like that. So the purpose is clear out there, to assist her child who is pregnant. Or if you are seeing what we say, a friend who, what we say, a long distance friend over there, you are finding some time to see or something like that. Or you are exploring the country as a tourist. So the purpose should be clear here. And secondly, the ties to home country. Okay, so the thing is that you should be returning. So the temporary resident visa, as I already explained in the very first part, the temporary resident visa has an expiry and you should return at the end of the time where either the visa is expired or the immigration officer has already set you a time period for you to be staying in the country. So at the end of the time, you have to come back, and for that, for applying, you have to convince the officer, you have to present the documents regarding the ties to your home country or your employment or any other things like a business, or if you are having any fixed assets in your country or in your home country or any other country that you are currently. And financial stability throughout the throughout the stay in the country, you have to prove that you are financially capable, you are having funds in your hands, you are employed and you are receiving a particular salary, and your education that proves that you can easily come back and find a job without any kind of hurdles. So everything you have to convince the immigration officer that you are confident well enough to travel the country by finance. Okay, so you have the funds, you have the courage and other kind of things just to make the travel happen. And these three pillars are actively used in any TRV you are applying. So if you are applying for any other applications also, you can consider using these kind of techniques. And for visit visa, I'm telling you some points. Like as I already mentioned, it is 100 Canadian dollars, so almost like 400 to 500 dirhams. And an 85 Canadian dollars for the biometrics fee. For the biometrics process, it is separate apart from the application process, so you have to pay $85 extra. And the maximum validity either 6 months or up to 10 years. So here the single entry and multiple entry is differing. Like a single entry application or visa is allowed to stay for 6 months, maximum 6 months. And for multiple entry, like up to 10 years, but it is according to the immigration officer. If you have just only the purpose to visit for only 1 or 2 years, and the immigration officer thinks that okay, you don't need to stay for more than 2 years, he will only give you 2 years multiple entry visa. And for multiple entry visa also, you if you are traveling to the country, you have the maximum stay for 6 months, and after that you have, before completing 6 months, you have to come back and you can go again. That's called a multiple entry. Each single entry is not valid up to more than 6 months. And the processing times it's varying according to the country that we applied from. So if we are residing in here, United Arab Emirates, it is according to this country that the processing time is actually considered. So from here, I think it's 3 to 4 months, but most of the clients will be facing a 6 months period because of the bulge or lump sum amount of applications. And then legal processing requires biometric authentication. Already I have mentioned, and the biometric process, the biometric authentication, it is valid for another 10 years. So once you have done for a visa application or temporary resident visas, okay, permanent residency it is different. I will come back. if it is required. So currently I'm talking about a visit visa only. So for any temporary residence visa application, if you have given already a biometrics authentication, it will be valid for another 10 years. So you don't need to give once again the biometrics if you are applying a secondary. And the visa as tourist, like the visit visa is categorized into tourist visa, visitor visa, and business visit. It is not actually officially recognized these three parts, but the application is categorized on basis of the purpose of the visit. So there is no type of visit visa application they are asking, but the purpose of visit they will be definitely asking, and based on that only we consider these three types. And once an application or applicant is once a client is coming towards us, you can either ask them like what is the purpose or why you are going to the country. Application is almost online. I already mentioned this. So everything comes in online only. Creating an online account, fill the online application. You will get some document checklist including some generic forms. Fill the forms and gather documents. Take them all, upload it, apply, submit the fees, and submit the application. That's the only thing you have to do. The overall process, it won't be covering almost like a half an hour, 1 hour or 2 hours. If you're an expert, it will be taking 15 to 20 minutes for creating the application. But then gathering the documents will make sense. So maximum 3 to 4 days the application process it will only take, and it depends on gathering the documents. And after creating the application, so soon after starting filling the application will stay only 60 days. So before that 60 days itself, you have to complete the application, gather all the documents, and submit the fees. And IRCC I already mentioned. So IRCC was founded in 1994, and its mission is to balance Canada's economic needs with its humanitarian commitments. So visit visa has nothing to do with the IRCC's importance, but I can tell that for the country, as we already mentioned, the country is very big. The country has a lot of space, and the people are very low. If you compare, I think it is very low by the density of population when we rank it to the other countries. So the country is welcoming people outside countries, welcoming immigrants to the inside for the democratic development as well as the economic development. So for that only, for welcoming the immigrants only, the IRCC has the major purpose. It has started in 1994 by the federal department. And GC key I already mentioned. It is a secure key for accessing IRCC immigration processes. So the separate folder for visit visa is the IRCC portal. It has been suspended almost like 1 to 2 years. It was suspended. The application was not working after the COVID. But then I think in 2026 it is now restarted. They are promoting studies and visit visas to apply through the IRCC portal. Both are same. The IRCC portal is also same. The GCQ account is also same. And previously the IRCC account as they started, it was fully computerized. The AI will only be assessing the application, while in the GCK account the immigration officer is personally checking from their side. And I think right now from 2026 onwards they are using AI for reaching out to each and every application and to finalize the applications in a very fast manner. So an application number and a UCI. So every application has an application number, as you already know. Apart from that, there is actually one unique identification number, unique client identification number, UCI. This is assigned for the very first time when the client applies for an application, and after that for each and every application to IRCC, you will be assigned with the same number. So if you have applied for a lot of applications, or in the future also you are applying, this UCI will stay same, and with the UCI you can access each and every application under your name. Okay, so if the client has already applied for an application, you can ask for a UCI. Document requires, as I already mentioned, these three pillars that you have to identify, that the purpose, financial requirements, and the ties to home country. So apart from that, the identity documents has already it is already been hidden. Like each and every identification documents ask it is required: passport, birth certificate, digital photo, national ID, etc. Financial stability, you can put bank statement, here employment proof, and if the country that you're staying has a taxation policy, you can also input the tax returns. And evidence of home ties, your employment letter, and if you're having any fixed asset properties in your name and your family ties, that you can mention. Purpose of travel, you can include the documents. If you're traveling as a tourist, you have to put as an itinerary, or otherwise if you are visiting a friend or a person, you have to gather the invitation letter and the documents from that invited. And also if you are attending for a special event, as already mentioned, for FIFA, there is actually a code for special this FIFA, which IRCC has been tying up with. So if you are applying for FIFA, if you gather the ticket, the FIFA will be giving you a code which you have to apply in the application, in the visit use application. This code helps the IRCC to identify the program details and to allow the process very smoother. Since the application takes 6 months or 7 months longer, the FIFA is very nearby, so these kind of codes will be helping you. And purpose of travels, that I mentioned. Generic forms, IMM 5257, 5645, 5275. Don't be worried of the names. These are very simple application forms that requires your biodata, the application details, the funds, your history, everything. So certain documents applies for certain purposes. One is about the application, one is about your family, one is about your background. And if you are having any additional documents according to the process. Processing time and other some points. Fee structure, you have already mentioned $100 Canadian for each applicant. And if you are applying as a bulk, like in a family, the maximum amount of fees you applied, it will be 500. So if you are applying as a family of 6 or 7, the maximum application payment, it will be 500 only, and 85 for each person. Biometrics. Processing times depends on each country. Medical not required for single entry, multiple entry is according to the immigration officer. Rejection reasons: if you are having insufficient funds, or your purpose is very weak, or if you are having any other issues with your background, the rejection will be there. And what I have been seeing from my past experience, the scenario is that the application will be a 60 to 70% rejected because of certain issues regarding the background or finance. Otherwise everything is fine. Passport validity at least 6 months valid for the travel date. And the visa service is managed by VFS only, like the biometrics, the medical if it is required, or submitting the passport, everything is managed through VFS only. And the proof of funds, there is no specific requirement for proof of funds. If the client is asking you how much I should keep with me, logically you can say you should be having enough funds for the travels in your account. So it is according to the budget. If you are traveling for 10 days, if you are applying for 10 days, then you have to mention that you are having sufficient funds for the 10 days travel. If you are living at that time in the city of Toronto, it is very expensive, so you should be considering that also. And apart from that, what I've been also suggesting to the client is that you are not intending to spend all your financial savings for one single trip in Canada. You are not intended to right now, right? So if you are having 10,000 dirhams in your account, you are spending it for Canadian travel. After coming back, you are not having anything in your pocket. So how are you going to live in the future? So the immigration officer will be considering this also. If you are not having any life savings, then you are spending all your funds for one single travel. You are spending it like randomly. It is not convincible. So if the client is having at least like 3 to 4 times of the amount of the budget, then the application will be definitely healthy by financially regarding how everything visa works. You must be having some questions. Anyhow, I will explain this and I got a few points that I have missed. So something like that if you are having. How and
Let's
why.
consider in a way that if might be you will be taking a call tomorrow and you will get a lead of Canada visit visa.
You get a question, or you should be, consider that you are traveling.
Correct.
And your background you can tell. So I'm from India. I'm not having any immigration history. Okay, I'm here in UAE right now, but in UAE it's not like permanent immigration. I'm here for work only. So I'm not having any other tourism background. I haven't traveled any part of the world, any part of any other country I haven't traveled, how my application will be healthy. You're not having any other? Okay, this point, if you are, as I already mentioned, 3 pillars, if one pillar is weak, you have to concentrate on the other pillar. I will gather each and every property names or financial politics or anything that relating to my home country, India, for the application, and I will state that whatever it is, whatever I'm going through in Canada, I will have to come back to India and establish or continue my destiny. So I have to come back anyhow at the end of the stay. So my purpose may be weak. I'm going for tourism only. I'm planning to spend some time with my friends if possible. I will mention like that. And anyhow, after 5 to 10 days, I'll come back to India, and for coming back is the major thing that I'm focusing on in here, the application. So if you're having one pillar weak, then you have to focus on the other pillar. So if you are financially not healthy, if you are only having a 5,000 or 6,000, 10,000 minimum, 10 to 12,000 minimum dirhams, United dirhams should be there in the application to show. So if you are not having much funds other than that, you can mention that you are employed here and you are having almost like a 5,000 or 6,000 per month receiving. So compensating the process or getting, you can also mention that you are supported by your friends or families. So IRCC, as I already mentioned, it is very important. But more than IRCC, GCK is very important, because when it comes to part of the application, GCK is pronounced more like high than the IRCC. IRCC is being the authority, while the GCK is a portal we apply the application. Okay. And what is a temporary resident visa?
It's a short-term visa.
Short-term visa?
For the purpose of tourism, any kind of purpose. It will be relating to business, it will be relating to tourism travel, visiting a family members or something like that. It will be coming under temporary category.
Yes, I'm reading work purpose and education also. So anything, the purpose is temporary and you are coming back, you are intending to coming back, it is a temporary resident visa, including a visitor visa, as already Dakshina said. So here the multiple entry visa. I mentioned that the application like the access is given for a single entry or a multiple entry. And usually an application, tourism and normal visits, you will be getting an access for one time entry, and it will be valid at a maximum of 6 months. So if you are getting an approval, you will be allowed to stay in the country for 6 months. Only 6 months is possible. And if it's a multiple entry, so you cannot decide whether you are applying for a visitor visa, a single entry or a multiple entry. You cannot mention or you cannot choose that you are applying for a single entry or a multiple entry. But a multiple entry is granted by the immigration officer according to the purpose. So as I explained one example, that a person like if you're having your brother or sister in Canada, and consider that they are going under a medical condition. So if you are having a sister and she is pregnant or she requires a medical help support, and you are applying for a visitor visa.
So we need all that documents to
everything
to prove that, okay, for what purpose, that is purpose of entry.
The purpose you have to prove. So you have to prove that your sister is pregnant or your sister requires a medical condition, or the person that is in Canada requires a situation that you should be assisting them. So in the application, if you are mentioning like that, it is not intended for one single entry. It is intended for multiple entries, right? That you have to be there at least the end of the purpose itself, and it's not like one single, like 6 months. If you are employed here, you cannot stay 6 months over there. So you can mention in the application you are employed here, you will be taking 10 days per month or 5 days per month, and you go to Canada, help her, come back, you have to go again. So something like that, if you mention that it requires for us to travel multiple times, we will be granted a multiple entry visa, but it's according to the immigration officer's decision.